Welcome to another episode of Cookware Therapy. Today we are reseasoning my cast iron and carbon steel pans. I know what you're going to ask me. Have I tried the flaxseed oil method? When Sheryl Canter's blog post came out several years ago with this new way to season cast iron, it took the cooking world by storm. Cooks Illustrated said that cookware seasoned this way could survive a run through a dishwasher. Kitchen gave it thumbs up, so I wasn't about to head into this video unprepared. I had to try it. So today I'll show you a new and old school way of seasoning cast iron and show you how the pans performed right after seasoning. Because, the proof is in the pudding. The first step required stripping my pans completely of their current seasoning. Sheryl suggested that I submerge them into a bucket of lye, but first I needed to cover myself completely like an ostranet for this procedure because even a tiniest bit of lye can give you a terrible burn if it touches your skin. This made me somewhat uncomfortable, and then disposing of a whole bucket of lye afterwards didn't sound too fun either. So I cheated. I decided to do what I have always done when seasoning pans and simply give them a thorough scrub with Barkeeper's Friend. My carbon steel pan is a great way to show you how well this product works. With a bit of elbow grease, I was able to strip it to its shiny base, so I assumed that would be sufficient. I know that in the video it looks nice and fast, but in real life that's about 10 minutes of scrubbing. Just saying, so that you know what you're getting yourself into. Cast iron will never be shiny, but it will start to look gray instead of black once you scrub the seasoning off. The trick here is to use very little strokes, just like with brushing your teeth. It's more effective than big swooping movements. Just ask your dentist. Yes, I know, there are parts that are still black. Well, I tell you what, if the seasoning in those parts is so tough that it survived a 15-minute stint with Barkeeper's Friend, it deserves to stay. I dried the pans and heated them up for about 10 minutes in preheated 200 Fahrenheit oven to make sure they are completely dry and to open up their pores. Sheryl's post warned me not to use flaxseed oil blends. So I splurged on the pure, organic flaxseed oil from Whole Foods. See, the only ingredient is flaxseed oil. The instructions said to apply a little bit of oil and then rub it all off. The pan shouldn't look shiny at all after you are done, or it might come out sticky after seasoning. You want to apply the oil to the inside and outside of the pan. Then I had to put the pans into the cool oven. The reason people season the pans upside down is to avoid the oil from pulling up in the sides of the pans and turning sticky. Not that we have any visible oil in them now, but just in case. I turned the oven on 500 Fahrenheit. I waited for the oven to preheat. Then I set the timer for 1 hour. After an hour at 500, I turned the oven off but didn't take out the pans for 2 hours, letting them cool gradually. This whole cycle took 3.5 hours. Then I did the whole thing again and again and again. I went through this procedure 6 times, which was the minimum number Sheryl suggested. Here are my pans after I was finally done seasoning. At some point I realized that the outside of my carbon steel pan was a bit rusty. I should have stripped it and oiled it on the outside as well as inside. Oh well, live and learn. Other than that, they looked pretty good. Okay, this is the moment of truth. We are going to cook an egg. My first egg in the carbon steel pan was a bit rough. But what's nice about these pans is that they're smooth, so even if things stick a bit, they don't make a terrible mess. I wiped out my pan and gave it another shot. Gently, gently, look at this! It's moving and I even got it out of the pan without a problem. Not bad for the second egg. Cast iron pan was a disaster the first time because its surface was not smooth. If this was an antique Griswold, it would have done as well as carbon steel because old-style cast iron skillets were made smooth. But the only cast iron pans easily available these days, like my Lodge here, are bumpy, and flaxseed oil seasoning isn't magically solving this problem. But every disaster is also a learning opportunity. Since I have this huge mess on my hands, I'll show you how to clean a cast iron pan that got into a sticky situation. Scoop out whatever you can, add a bunch of kosher salt and some oil. Turn the heat on low, hold the paper towel with tongs and scrub. Then wipe it all out. Rinse the pan and dry immediately, and we can give it another go. The second try was better, and my third try was almost non-stick. But I wasn't crazy about the tiny black dots cast iron left on my eggs, while the carbon steel pan didn't. Another one of my pet peeves with cast iron cookware is being very careful with acidic ingredients. Would flaxseed oil change that? I boiled red wine in my carbon steel pan for a couple of minutes, and oh bummer, all the seasoning came right off. I know that I'm trying to do the impossible here. You're not supposed to be making pan sauces for months, but I just spent 2 freaking days running my oven at 500 Fahrenheit in the middle of the summer and rubbing 6 coats of this super expensive oil into my pans. Wasn't this supposed to be somehow different than normal seasoning? Well, not in the ways that matter to me. I haven't tried putting my pan into the dishwasher. Maybe it would work, I don't know. But I don't care because I do not wash my pans in the dishwasher. You could argue that I didn't season these pans properly in the first place because I didn't give them a lye bath. So the seasoning didn't stick to them as well as it should have. You could certainly say that about my cast iron pan, but the carbon steel pan looked pretty bare to me. I think the reality is that all the cast iron rules still apply no matter which seasoning procedure you use. So next time I'll save myself some trouble and do it the old way. Preheat the oven to 450 Fahrenheit. Scrub your pans really well with Barkeeper's Friend. It will remove both loose seasoning and rust. Dry the pans thoroughly with a towel and put into the oven to open up their pores for 10 minutes. Rub all over with any neutral oil, canola, grapeseed, safflower, whatever you use for high heat cooking, both inside and outside. Wipe out as much oil as possible. Put in the oven upside down for 30 minutes. Repeat oiling and baking 2 more times and you are done. I found that doing many rounds of seasoning does not replace the necessity to use the pans frequently and to start with easy ingredients. In the early days, use your pan as much as possible for cooking fatty meats or roasting vegetables. I suggest no eggs and no fish for the first 10 times you use the pans. No wine, tomatoes, or other acidic ingredients for a few months. The first few weeks, wash your pans with hot water and a sponge, but don't use soap. Eventually, you'll want to use soap, especially if you start to cook fish in your cast iron pans. And that's fine. Never soak your pans. Try to get the washing done quickly and dry the pans immediately and very thoroughly. The easiest way to do it is to get the pan on the burner and wait for all the moisture to evaporate. Once your pan is dry, rub a tiny bit of oil into it and buff it all out, just like we did when seasoning. This summary of my seasoning procedure and all the products I use in this video are in the description below. So, what's the difference between cast iron and carbon steel pans? That's a topic for another Cookware Therapy video. This video was brought to you by viewers like you. If you liked it, click here to support my channel. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that little bell button so that you get notified when I make new videos. And if you're ever in the Boston area, maybe I'll see you in one of my classes.